So it's good to be here. Great to see everybody. A lot of familiar faces. Thanks to our customers, and thanks to anybody who's not a customer, because pretty soon you will be. But jokes aside, I was telling the team I've been coming to Israel for about 25 plus years now. Even the folks at immigration in Israel, this time when I entered, said, "You seem to be coming every June." I said, "Yes, we have a huge customer summit in June." So even they recognize me based on my passport now. But I think I love coming to Israel because, a lot of the folks here in this room and the people that we meet, it's a very direct culture. So it's not like liberal California where you got to kind of interpret what people are trying to tell you, which is very, very appreciated. And the second is in the technology world, I think, I love actually meeting technical folks who are building stuff. And most, if not all of you guys are builders. And that's whom we serve. So it's really enjoyable to meet other builders, people who are building products, innovation, building kind of industry-defying products and trying to take on new industries or disrupting existing markets. So Zohar can't find my presentation? Okay. If only he had used Aerospike, this would have been less than a millisecond. So that's a bad joke, but hopefully you get it. Zohar? He can solve problems when a node goes down, but loading a presentation takes him some time. Sorry, Zohar, no pressure. Shall I start my comedy routine, Zohar? It's the projector? Okay. It's Google Docs that's not working, he says. Okay. So bear with us, guys, as Zohar figures this out. He's only the smartest SE in the organization, but even he's challenged with Google Docs. So I think we can excuse him. So yeah, there you go. Oshrat was nice enough to give me 20 minutes, so we'll see how much time I take. But what I'm going to do is, quickly walk you through a few slides. Oshrat covered kind of the architecture slide, but I wanted to walk you through maybe how we look at really the Aerospike vision. And it's very simple, as you guys can see. It's really to enable developers to solve the hardest data problems. I borrowed this from Evan, who's our Chief Product Officer, who will come up here later on, with Aerospike's performance, scale, stability, and cost leadership. So that's really important because no other solution can give you the combination of the things that we listed out there. When you think about Aerospike, you can think about a three-legged stool, basically performance, scale, and cost or efficiency. You can probably get one or maybe two of the three from other solutions in the market. You cannot get all three of it from anybody else other than Aerospike. So the combination of performance, scale, whether that's data scale or user scale. So you can scale from thousands of concurrent users to millions of concurrent users, or you can scale from terabytes or gigabytes to hundreds of terabytes to even petabytes with predictable performance at a cost efficiency which nobody else can match in the market. That's our promise, and we try to stay true to that promise while delivering on world-class developer and operator experience. And this is a journey for us, really, the world-class developer and operator experience. You could say that Aerospike in its first innings didn't pay as much attention to the developer experience as we are focusing on now. Right? We were more focused on building the best database to kind of deliver on the performance, scale, and the cost leadership. But we understand that really, as we grow, we have to focus on developer and operator experience. So this is part of kind of the journey for us. I have one slide, which is my next slide, on AI. Because you cannot talk about anything without talking about AI. So I have to pay homage to AI. I call it Aerospike intelligence, not artificial intelligence, but you'll see what I'm saying. It's a very high-level slide, nothing too complicated. When we look at the AI kind of application models that are emerging out there, and you can try to read this slide like you read in Hebrew from right to left. Predictive AI is something which most of you are almost always already doing. We used to call it ML, machine learning. So most of you guys are using machine learning models which could be offline or online to train kind of new models with new features, feeding the input from those features into an Aerospike database and using that to really make real-time decisions. So that's something which is well known. It's getting modified or modernized to actually leverage AI. The second one is essentially Gen AI, which obviously created the entire attention and revolution around the space of AI. AI has been around for a long time, but really the emergence of Gen AI and the possibilities made it really available to every common person. So the fastest growth companies, as you guys know, are some of the Gen AI companies. Really fundamental work with Transformer and stuff that happened that actually resulted in Gen AI. And a lot of the momentum now really is in agentic AI. So you can see a lot of agents and agentic AI-based applications. Some of you may be working on it too. A lot of customer-facing applications, a lot of customer service-based applications, which can actually optimize workflows across multiple systems of record or whatever, is actually being provisioned and built using agentic systems. When you look at these systems, what we see is each system has some specific requirement. If it's agentic, it's all about throughput. If it is Gen AI-based systems, it's possibly scale and search. And if it's predictive AI, it's really about latency. They may have multiple attributes which are really important to each of these applications and application models, but all of these need a real-time data infrastructure to power these. And as these AI systems become more and more popular, they have to be real-time. And we think there is no better platform in the world as a foundation from a data infrastructure to power these systems than Aerospike, because of the performance, the scale, and the cost efficiency that Aerospike delivers. The next slide is really something that Oshrat already walked you through. The centerpiece is the database. What we did was, it's important that we not only have a high-performance database, but that you're able to get data from a variety of sources into the database equally fast. So our streaming connectors that we built out so that you can actually bring data in from a variety of different sources, depending on really your needs, should also be as fast, if not faster. So you use these fast connectors to ingest data into the database, persist or store the data in Aerospike, and then use the connectors on the other side to actually power your decisioning engines, whether they're those Spark connectors or any of those other connectors. So that's the whole idea behind this architecture slide, which is, the database is one part of it. It's kind of the heart of the system, but you have connectors on either side to ingest data and then also act on that data to drive insight. Some of the use cases that we see people use us for are listed out here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. A lot of you guys use us for this. And this is globally, we see customers using us for recommendation engines, real-time bidding, user profile stores, fraud, a lot of fraud, feature stores. Mainframe augmentation is something that a lot of financial services, large banks end up doing, using Aerospike in front of a mainframe as kind of the transactional system, intraday transactional system that eventually gets synced with the mainframe. So a lot of high volume transactional systems powering these operational data stores. I'm going to transition a little bit here on this slide to walk you through our key focus areas for this year. And Evan, when he comes on here, will kind of drill down into each of these areas in a lot more detail. He also has an exciting demo which hopefully works, right, Evan? He's smiling there, so it's a live demo. So everybody here in the room knows what the risks with the live demo are. Hopefully it works. Our first priority is very straightforward, cloud. We've always had Aerospike available as a managed service product on AWS, on GCP, and Azure. What we now have in preview is database as a service. We are making it available, and the first preview is on AWS, but eventually it'll be available on GCP and Azure too. And this database as a service will be running in our VPC, and eventually our ACMS product, which is the Aerospike Cloud Managed Service product, will be available as a bring your own account option on Aerospike Cloud. So both the products will be unified under one umbrella of Aerospike Cloud. But our actually cloud strategy goes beyond just providing our products as a managed service or as a DBaaS product. We have very close relationship with AWS and GCP. Our AWS relationship goes back about 6 years when they first came to us to really work closely with us saying, hey, how can we build instances that can basically support Aerospike-like workloads really, really well? And you can see that some of the joint development that we did with AWS resulted in the I4I, I4G, and then now the IAG instances. Some of you are using the IAG instances, and then also the Nitro SSDs. So this was a lot of joint development where we are testing early versions of these products. In fact, in the I4I, they came to us to make sure they got the memory to data spec and all those ratios also right before they actually spec'd out the entire instance type. Same thing with GCP. That shouldn't say Graviton, it should say GCP. My apologies for that. A GCP joint development around the Z3 instances was also similar work that we worked with Google Cloud to bring it to market. The next area is really around operational excellence. So a lot of effort around improving our maturity on stability and recoverability, enhancements to security management, and some minor features that are coming in the upcoming versions. We just released 8.0, 8.1 of the database, and 8.2 will have a lot of these enhancements. The next one, which I talked about, was developer experience. As I mentioned early on, when I kind of talked about the vision slide, it's important for us as a company to make sure that we give a first-class experience to people who are building applications on the database, not just the operators. We want to continue to make sure we make the operators' life simpler and simpler, but we also have to take care of the developers or the builders. So we're working on a bunch of things, including API simplification, improved documentation. We now have a developer hub, which we actually built out. So if you go to I think aerospike.com/developer or developer.aerospike.com, one of the two URLs, you'll find a lot of information there, tutorials to get you started as a developer if you're building applications on Aerospike. We'll continue to improve that, add more tutorials, and then we are revamping our entire Aerospike Academy. So it'll be self-guided training that will be ungated, available to everybody across the globe. So that if you want to learn about Aerospike or how to get started with Aerospike, all of that training will be available in modules and chapters. It'll be part of the training will be for developers, and the other part will be for operators. So depending on your role and depending on what your scope is, you can decide which part of the academy is going to be relevant for you. But this should be available pretty much later this year, shortly. And it should be comprehensive. It should give you a complete journey and a complete experience in a self-service manner, ungated, so you don't have to share your email or put joe@gmail.com to get access to that particular portal. Okay. And the last piece is Graph. You may have heard basically that we released Graph, and our focus is really with Graphs to build real-time scalable graphs. So we're talking about billions of vertices, each with thousands of edges of its own. So pretty large graphs with a few seconds of response time on multi-hop queries. Okay, terabyte scale, which nobody else in the market can do. And where we see a lot of these uses are primarily around fraud and identity management. These are kind of the primary two use cases that we see our customers leveraging our Graph solution for. Okay, so these are the 4 focus areas that we have for our product this year. As I said, when Evan comes up, he'll talk a lot more in each of these areas and go into more detail. I want to close out with one particular kind of benchmark that we just did with AWS using their IAG instances. So This one is really P99.9 read performance on the y-axis, TPS or throughput on the x-axis. And the blue line is essentially the IAG, and the red line or the pink line, whatever you color, I see it as not red, but kind of pinkish, is the I4Gs. But you can see significant improvement between the I4Gs and the IAGs in terms of performance. So you can see almost 94% improvement at the million TPS mark. And also the saturation on IAGs happens after 3x the throughput, right? This is on read. And then if you look at write, it's pretty similar. It's actually even better, right? At million, it's 99% better. So again, the blue line is the IAGs, and the pink line is the I4Gs, right? Anybody from AWS here? They love this slide because it shows the IAG as really a superior machine compared to the I4Gs. But we did some extensive performance benchmarking, and these are the results that we see out there. As I said, some of you guys are already leveraging the IAG instance types, but just wanted to share this amazing kind of performance benchmark results that we got. With that, I'm way below my time, so thank you once more. Oshrat, so you cannot berate me this time, so thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the conference.